So in today's survey, we're looking at a lower ground floor flat, Victorian low ground floor flat in London, where there's damp, particularly in the corner, but actually it's all the way across one side of the property. It's below ground level. The flank wall is beneath the ground, and well, you'll see during the survey. But I'm actually at the property with paid clients, describing what I'm seeing and then starting to describe what the causes of the damp are. This is then followed up with recommendations that follow this video survey. But I'm hoping lots of other people will learn from it who don't necessarily want to pay for my services and can solve their own damp problems. So this is the primary area of concern, and this is the one that we need to solve. And this is discoloration here. You can see a gradual increase over time of the area of dampness. There has been a washing machine leak roughly a year or so ago, but it's been fixed and it's not ongoing, but it does look damp down there. So I'll have a look at that. And there's lots of calcium sulfate salts blistering on the side up there. The dampness is growing, albeit slowly, but it is growing from that point. This is the shower room, which is just at the back, and we have dampness around the shower itself. Now, this shower hasn't been used since September last year, is that right?
It's been used for the last month or so.
It has been used recently.
So
okay.
we hadn't used it for about 6 months.
Okay.
If anyone wants to use it, could have sent in advice, so was considered using it again.
But there is concern about some of the grouting, so I'll have a look at that.
And there's a crack in the tiling.
Oh, I can see some up here.
They're tiny tiles.
There, if you look at that one.
Yeah. So that's a good example.
Okay, and then we have some other issues. So there's dampness on this wall. Now that dampness is probably from a gutter that has been fixed, and that was fixed how many months ago?
It was fixed in November 23.
November 23, so 6 months ago or so, a bit more than that. And
yeah.
We got calcium sulfate salts here, and there was mould growing behind there. Plus there's some dampness up there, but that's unrelated. And then upstairs we have, in this back study, there's dampness on the wall there that could be related, but may not be. And also we have the underneath the neighbours bathroom, we think, and you can see the streaming water down here, but that may be solved. I'll check it. So if you've got dampness coming through the wall, and it probably is from the gutter, I'll have a look, but if it's historic and it's been solved, then this wall will dry out. But what will happen is, if you've got objects here, it will stop the vapour from the wall diffusing out to the rest of the property, and what will happen is you'll have a build-up of surface relative humidity to the extent that it goes over 85% for long periods of time, and you'll end up with mould or a risk of mould.
Does that include the soil?
that's
Because obviously this is...
Well, any moisture, whether it's internal vapour or external.
But in terms of blocking the breathing of the wall, I guess. So this is all below ground level.
Oh, okay. But it comes down to the same thing, though. I'll explain it a little bit better later on, but I also noticed you've got that area there.
So that was caused by the bathroom leak upstairs.
Yeah, but I'm not. Can you just, because I noticed it basically.
Right.
See this area here. I don't know if there's anything happening there, but that area there is different. Something's happening up there.
Okay. You take it to a part of the wall that's known to be dry, and this is showing 50%.
Yeah.
And then if you then drop it down, you can see that it's going up, and it's 100%. You know, obviously that's not telling you it's completely saturated, but it's telling you that it's very dense and therefore deep within this wall, there's dampness. But this could be quite underground here, is it? I'll have a look on the outside.
Yeah, I mean,
It's possibly right in the middle. Down here, the water.
It came down into the centre, did it?
Came down the centre and it dropped straight here and here, right?
Okay.
Down here, straight in the centre down here. And then,
Have you changed this paving? Have you changed this area here?
so yeah, we changed this in like November 23. The things are around that area and the laundry area. And the guy said there used to be a chimney, but I cannot understand where the chimney came from.
There's a chimney up at the top there. And then this area here. This is where the chimney breast is there, and that's been presumably carved out of here. Difficult to know.
Yeah, what's it looking like at the moment?
Down.
Yeah.
Right. Useful to see behind. That looks like it's been damp proofed at some stage.
So I don't know really if it's dry or if it's still wet. I'm not sure.
So it's dry. It's dry, even though it's making a noise. It is dry. Oh no, I've got it on the wrong setting. Masonry. There you go. It's dry. So despite its look, I think this is condensation that you're having here. And the reason why is you're not getting a brown stain. And if you had it coming through, then you'd expect to see a brown stain like you seeing downstairs. I think the fact that you're working here and you've got some heating, but you may at times not have that much. Anyway, it's something to it's easily fixable.
so not related to that plant. That's
No, I'm going to say that there's a good chance that it's exacerbating the problem,
yeah.
but not the cause of the problem.
Okay.
And I would probably recommend you use a data logger in here to see what's happening as well.
Okay.
So what's happening here?
So So when did you say the washing machine was a year ago, was it, roughly, give or take?
I'll tell you, hold on. I can tell you what's it usage.
It's quite moist around here.
Use the hot water one that was boiler of all places.
Uh,
I think they originally connected it to a radiator valve.
Fixes to the pipe to turn it off because like it was fully enclosed.
so this was October 2022,
Yeah.
and it was an escape of water that lasted about 4 hours.
Oh, not even long. Whether it was leaking beforehand, I don't know. Do you feel any leaking?
No, it wasn't it that like you opened a tap and then Liz and our neighbour upstairs but it was leaking for about 4 hours.
Wow.
Probably straight
Into the subfloor.
now. And the water's off now.
Oh, right, okay, so
Oh, make the thing see.
this is dry now. It's fine. The vent isn't working very effectively. It's running about a third of requirements, but it does appear to be clear. It just needs cleaning.
So with the bath extractor, do we need to get a higher capacity vent?
Well, I think that's quite good news. It doesn't seem to be sucking it back up, so it indicates that you don't have a leak. But we'll leave it for another 5-10 minutes to see how it is. And this, yeah, it's unlikely to pick anything up at this time of year. I mean, just from a construction point of view, you've got the soil pipe running down here. Actually, it looks damper than it is, but you are getting it's the dampness clearly gets worse as you come round to here.
Yeah.
You don't particularly need that anymore.
No, we don't need that. Okay, you can put it in.
So this joist here is damaged, but it isn't taking much load. This is rot here. It appears to be cellar rot. And if you look here, this seems to be damage from woodworm, which would be wood weevil. You can see it more clearly here, this piece of timber. And this bit of timber here, it's probably okay as it is. Are you thinking about selling at all in the near future?
Yeah. But what would we have to do?
I'll take you through that.
Okay, yeah. Can you just take us through the options?
Standard timber floor in the kitchen. Tractor fan doesn't seem to go out there. So your vent is not running effectively. It's running about a third of the speed it should be.
Yes.
It could be just a case of taking it out and cleaning it. But equally, if you are thinking of selling, then it's probably wise to just replace it because they don't cost very much.
You mean?
Yeah, the fan.
Yeah, we tried to do that, and then it's on a bloody low voltage.
Oh, I know.
Is there one
You can buy them.
One you recommend?
Oh, it's this type of low voltage. No, but there are plenty around. So,
I think it needs. I mean, like you say.
So this brown here is a sign that water is passing through building material and rising up. It's not rising damp per se. All forms of water rise. It's just that the water's at the base of the wall and it's being drawn up. Some people call it capillary action, but it's absorption essentially, just like kitchen paper on water.
Osmosis.
Yeah. And so, in my opinion, it's originating from the flooding almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and it's still damp down there, and it's primarily damp in that corner there where the flooding took place, and that's where you're getting the rotting. But the rotting is relatively low level without being structurally damaging, because you've got a joist, you've got supporting joists, so you probably could get away without replacing the timber, but what you need to do is drop the dampness in the subfloor, and I think it could be being made worse by the dampness along the outside of this wall because of the shingles, the patio shingle effect you've got there. And I would be looking to put in a cement-based mortar, just to drive the water away from the wall, at least up to where you've got the paving now, possibly a metre or so away, or 2 metres ideally away from the house. But what's happening is the condensation is forming. You can see it is down there. And what will happen is, because there's lack of airflow in the subfloor void, which isn't the way these properties were designed to be. They were designed to have airflow front to back, and it's forming condensation, and then there's timber there, and it's the timber that's discolouring this wall. So water is condensing on the cold water pipes in that area, and timber is then in contact and causing this discoloration. So you'll know that I'm right by doing all I recommend and using the damp meter to see the level of water slowly dropping down. But it will take, it'll probably take best part of a year to remove this water and to get
what's the sort of best way of doing that? Like, can we?
Well,
is there
yeah.
like a dehumidifier we can
A
literally
dehumidifier. You can speed up the process with dehumidifiers and fans. You want to have a fan, and ideally a heated fan.
Yeah.
But obviously you're starting to spend more money. But you can speed up the process. You know, if this was a hot country, it would dry out very rapidly, but it's not.
Especially not this summer.
Underground, so you're always going to have a problem. What you want to do is minimise the amount of water by displacing it away from the wall on the other side. But you're underground, so I believe this is some form of tanking material. There is a problem with this crack here, but I think this can be sealed up. And I think you can seal the whole thing, and
I'm thinking about getting rid of this whole structure. Do you think actually that would make a difference?
it would reduce the amount of mould that you get.
If I got rid of the structure here, and I know Thea's not keen on it, but if I got rid of the structure, do you think that actually it would help the
I mean, there were books.
So there's a very fine crack there.
Along the whole place.
So to explain what's happening in this property, what we have is a lower ground floor Victorian flat where there has been a washing machine in the corner that flooded. The flood lasted 4 hours. Water coming out high speed for about 4 hours. So all the water fell in underneath the floorboards. There is insufficient subfloor ventilation. Most of these lower ground floor Victorian properties have actually only a very small subfloor void. But setting that aside, in this particular property, the back of the property the ground level has risen above the subfloor vent, so it's effectively blocked. There is some subfloor ventilation into the bay, but it's insufficient. So the water has remained in place over about a year and has moved through condensation, through the vapour phase, to cold water pipes, and it's condensing on the side of the wall. It's condensing. It's the dampness is all over this back section of wall. However, it's starting to show itself by the left-hand wall away from where the washing machine was. And it's made worse by condensation forming on the cold water pipes. You can see the cold water pipes are corroding, a sign that condensation is forming on them. It's because it's next to a bathroom with insufficient ventilation. There is no ventilation from the kitchen, and clothes inevitably, as is typically the case, are being dried internally. But there is a dehumidifier, but the dehumidifier is insufficient. It needs to be 20 litres per day plus. So that's what's happening to the property. Simple solution is improve the ventilation, keep the door closed at all times, expose the timber. There is rot in the subfloor void as well. It's cellar rot with wood weevil, so it's not too damaging, but you want to expose it, open it up, have some dehumidifier or a dehumidifier, good dehumidifier, and a fan blowing air for probably for months to dry the whole thing out. Then you need to think about either converting that section of floor to a solid floor, or putting in subfloor ventilation, such as a long tube connected to an extractor fan that is blowing air out. There are lots of different ways of doing it. You could do it a periscopic method up the side of the wall and out there. And also the other thing you should do is monitor subfloor humidity. You can do that with a data logger or hygrometer probe, anything that's measuring the humidity in the subfloor. Anything that is going above 85% for a long period of time tells me that it's continuing to cause condensation, because it will be 100% somewhere that's a little bit colder. You have to remember that cold water pipes come in at typically around 8 degrees centigrade in winter. So if the dew point goes above 8 degrees centigrade in the winter, you've got a risk of condensation forming on the cold water pipes. Insulating them will improve the outcome, but by and large, the trick to good ventilation, dehumidification, is to monitor the humidity inside the flat and use ventilation and dehumidification to drop it below the external temperature. If it's below the external temperature the whole time, then the risk of condensation and mold disappears.